Hey guys, welcome to Night Owls. It is Sunday, December 10th. Let me make sure I have everything set up okay. Hey Sasha, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. I just saw you a little bit ago.
Yep, just like an hour ago.
I know I'm at Wolf's Lair now. Made it back in the dark, and Button's all happy, and so it's good to be here. It's going to get a little bit cold. It's good to see you guys in chat. Thank you. If you guys are new to Night Owls, this is our informal every Sunday night show. We start at 9 p.m. Central, and we go to. It depends on how the conversation goes, your input. We don't have a set time, and we really don't prep for the show. It's just, but a lot of people really like it. So it's a different type of show than my Monday through Friday show, which is more political current events. And I mean, you can submit, excuse me, political questions. That's perfectly fine. It's just we tend to discuss movies, stuff like that. So it's great to be here. Kind of the way to end the week or start off the week. I always thought, Sasha, the week should start on Monday, not Sunday. I think that's
Yeah,
how
I
they do it.
agree.
I think that's how they do it in Europe. The calendar starts on Monday, not Sunday, because this is like the last day of the week. In my opinion, Monday's kind of the start. So
It is to me too.
this is a kind of a good way to end the week. Get ready for the next day of work, or but you're going to be on Christmas break not too long, so that's cool.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah, so that'd be good and have more time. Sasha is really busy the past couple days, just putting up all sorts of stuff, and it's a busy time of year, that's for sure.
It is. I'll be glad when it kind of slows down, really.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And guys, thank you all for your support. If you guys want to send us a message, we have Power Chat up. We really do appreciate that. I already got a couple of Power Chats I want to go over. And then there's YouTube has Super Chats, Rumble has rants. If you don't care to do Power Chat, there's an equivalent called Stream Elements. And get a hold of my Gumroad. You can always call in. And we had a Gumroad this afternoon. It was really cool. We talked a lot about games and some politics. It was a really good session. So if you guys haven't, join my Gumroad. Right now, it's only $5 a month. Best value in town. With, with all the inflation, that's really cheap. And I appreciate all you guys. So check it out. Now's the time to get in. And so yeah, thank you. And also, I do some of my short videos are private. That's for Gumroad, and I should be here all next week. So I'll be doing my prediction video coming up. And last week I did my review of my predictions I made a year prior, and I'll probably do a few short videos. And so a lot of stuff coming this week. It should be a lot of fun. And we're going to do the book review. She just got a hold of me, Leslie. She's a supporter of mine. She wrote a book called The Decision to Kill. This is going to be our next book club book, and it's really cool because she actually wrote it. It's a true story of a teenage killer and the mother who loved him. So, Leslie,
I
I look
actually,
forward.
I
Go
actually
ahead.
read the book. It's pretty good. If
I
you like
haven't read it yet.
crime
I'm going to read
stuff.
it. Yeah, I do. So we'd like to have a lot of variety or diversity in what we discuss. And this is going to be our next month's book club book. And it's cool because then she graciously volunteered. She'll help answer any questions we have. It's sort of like we did with Jerry Taylor. Remember, we read his Japanese book.
Yeah,
And he really liked that because he hasn't had anyone discuss his Japanese book in years.
probably since it came out, right?
Yeah,
Maybe.
exactly, because he got famous for other stuff. But it was really fascinating. So I'm looking forward to this, and so that's what we're gonna do. So that's just another advantage of being in Gumroad. Or there's also a group app I have. It's kind of equivalent to Gumroad. And someone asked if you want to be a Twitter subscriber, you can subscribe to me on Twitter, and you get the same benefits as being a Gumroad. I post the links to our private videos or roundtables. You can join that too. So that's another option if you rather not go through Gumroad or group app. Just join my Twitter or X, and I like X platform. I like to support them. All the boycotters are trying to boycott them because of the free speech. So I hope you guys all can come check that out. And let me just take a look here. Okay. I got an invitation just to go on the Stu Peters show again, Sasha, just as we were talking. I like Stu,
Cool.
so that's, yeah. So I definitely will do that. I always check my text messages during the show because sometimes if I do something boomer, like I have my mic on mute, people get a hold of me. It's like turn on your microphone. So I always check that. Yeah. So that's all coming up, and we got a couple of letters. I forgot to bring them home. Should we go over them next week, or do you have them, Sasha?
I got one.
All right.
This lady sent $20 and a really
Well,
cute
thank you.
Peanuts card.
That is cute. Yeah, I
Um,
saw that. Yeah,
and
thank
then
you
we
very
got
much.
another Peanuts card from one of our friends, Stratus, and it's on the table, so I can't really get to it. But
Yeah, Stratus we met in real life. I'm not going to dox where he lives, but it's quite a part or so ways from
here,
Arkansas, and he's a really great guy. Again, he's on our Gum Road. Very thoughtful man, really interesting, and I've met quite a few people this year. If I think about it, in Arkansas, uh,
yeah,
this guy goes by the name James. He's on the Gum Road. I met him. And there's this nice lady from another part of the country. I'm not going to dox just to keep everyone's privacy, but she drove a long ways to meet me, and it was really nice meeting her. It was really fascinating.
and then we
And
met recently. We met a couple guys too.
yeah. And then I'm not even counting like Dave because he's just like a regular friend we see all the
Right.
time. But he's the guy we met through the show. He lives near Little Rock, and we were at his him and his wife. They always put together a great Christmas party. It's become like a tradition every year. It's really nice. And we played a game called Smartass. That was a lot of fun. I
It
like
was
that.
fun.
Almost have to get that sometime. So that was a good party game. Thank you, Dave, and your wife for a wonderful time. And all right, let's do a couple of power chats before I forget that. If you guys
All
have
right.
questions, I really appreciate it. And one is a $10 one. Let's see. This is Kim Anthony. Kim, I felt so good when this idiot lost his business in California. Is worth a proper clank from your bell. He's talking about, Sasha. Did you see that clip where that guy, he voted for all the Democrats and then he was complaining because the thieves broke into his place? And he goes, I don't even know why I voted for these politicians. Remember
Yeah,
that?
I saw it on your show.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And that is obnoxious. And I don't know. I feel bad people are victims of crime or whatever, but if they help facilitate it, they help to create the situation, it's hard to feel sorry for them.
I agree.
What's your thought of that? I don't know. I mean, and I don't advocate it, but it's like those. On another hand, well, this guy was a older white guy. He should have known better. I get it. I don't want to be hardcore or heartless about some dumb young girl. Oh, refugees, welcome. Then she gets sexually molested. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
think a
mean?
lot of
It's
them are just stupid though, and they just like
mhm,
they just go along with what they're told, so they don't really understand. It's kind of like when you live around certain people, you
right.
understand more than people that don't, and those people are always called names. And
Yeah.
once you've had a dose of it, you're kind of like, oh, I see why things were the way they were for a reason.
Yeah, so
So I
I
think
try
that's how
I
it
try
is.
not to be callous. Some people they're just really stupid, naive, and they do stupid actions, but it still leads to a bad result. But I didn't have any sympathy for this guy in California.
No, I mean, you'd think you would know better, but I don't know.
Mhm.
Some of these people are so stupid. I don't know how you could be like a white guy and vote for people that talk about your extinction and
I don't
all
understand it
this
either.
other
It's
stuff. It doesn't
bizarre.
make any sense to me.
Yeah,
But but I know people that are that stupid. So
yeah, they really are. And Kim also he had another power chat. $3. Hey Rams, on Friday you said Sasha made money selling old books. I want my cut. Sasha, I mentioned. I guess Friday I said that. I was just saying how you've been able to go through a lot of your dad's stuff, and you've been able to sell a lot of stuff in eBay instead of just trashing it, and
right,
you were able to make some money on some old books even you found.
I sold one old book.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like I've been just selling old books. I sold a novelization of the movie Halloween for $200.
That's what I
And
thought. That's pretty good.
that's the only book I've sold of the stuff I found at my dad's. A lot of the books are not in great shape.
You just need to
So
find 1,000 of those books, and you have a lot of money.
I have the sequels. I have
Yeah,
Halloween 2, 3. They're not worth as much, but they're worth a little bit. And then I
yeah,
have the Nightmare on Elm Street novelizations 1 through 3 in one book. And I
yeah.
looked that up, and that goes for 75 to 100. But hey, that's pretty good for an old book.
It is.
So,
Yeah, I would have just gave it away. I mean, I would have no idea.
Well, I have a storybook of it somewhere, and I don't think I ever got rid of it. Like, I remember I bought it when I was in New York
I've
at like
got
a thrift store for $1, and it's hardcover, and it's like a Nightmare on Elm Street book, but it's almost like a
yeah.
kid's book, but it has pictures and stuff in it. And I haven't come across it yet, but I'm hoping I do because I'm assuming that'll probably be worth some money. Horror movie stuff and band stuff tends to go for a little bit of money, not a lot, but it's more than I paid for it, back in the 90s.
I really kick myself because years ago when I was moving, not here, but a long time ago, I was trying to clear out a lot of stuff, and I had old bookcase games like Avalon Hill, and I'm like, I'm probably never going to play these again, so I just threw them away. Those games now, even used, are worth like a couple $100 each because they're out of print. It was dumb. I
It
shouldn't have
was
done that.
real dumb. Well, I remember you were staying with me and you were
Mhm.
complaining about my stuff and you were like, "I'd throw all this shit away." And I
Ah,
go, "Well, you'd be really stupid then because you can sell that stuff." I mean, that's
yeah,
like
I know.
my having to have a second job. I can like sell stuff on my own time
Yep.
and listen to podcasts and music and work at home instead of have to go slave away somewhere in a kitchen or cleaning up after somebody. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it'd be idiotic to sell that. And plus, it's a waste. Somebody might want it. You clean it up, it's going to make somebody happy to find that
No,
stuff. Like even
it's
that
really
book,
good.
it's not get stupid to just throw shit like that away.
Yeah,
But there's
and
a
you
thing called Goodwill. When I work at the university, it used to drive me crazy because these people are all about being green, and it's like they're not really about being green. They just like to say that and throw shit in the recycling bin that's not recyclable, like old pizza boxes and stuff like that. But then things stuff that's worth something, instead of just getting a box, I get it, you don't want it anymore, just put it in a box, give it to Goodwill. Or Fayetteville has tons of these freebie boxes and stuff. Like a friend of mine, we had dinner with him tonight. He showed me some of them around town where if you don't want something, it's kind of like a book depository, but people put clothes in them, like all kinds of stuff. And then
Mhm.
somebody come along, oh, hey, that's cool. And he's got some neat stuff in those, and it's better than throwing it in the dumpster.
Yeah,
But
definitely. And speaking of Goodwill, I know I told you this. A lot of people may know this, but any stuff you give to Goodwill, you can up to a certain limit deduct on your taxes, and that's as a charitable contribution. So that is
yeah.
nice.
Well, another
And
thing about Goodwill and places like that I didn't know before, a lot of that shit ends up in the dumpster and like good stuff. There's a
mhm,
place here in town that I used to donate to and I don't anymore, but they had I gave them something and a plate broke and I went to
mhm,
throw it in the dumpster and this guy was helping me and I peeked in there and I saw a bunch of stuffed animals like in good shape and they had Rainbow Bright's dog in the trash
mhm.
in the big dumpster and I was like, "Oh my God." I said, "Rainbow Bright's dog is in there." I said, "I can't bear to see him in there." And this guy got like a ladder and we got the Rainbow Bright's dog out. But I thought, my God, if they're throwing shit like that away, like what else are they throwing away? And I already had Rainbow Bright's dog. So what I did was washed it and sold it on eBay. But still, I was like thinking, they don't make those anymore. There comes a point where you're not going to get them anymore because stupid people like that thrift store, throw them in the garbage and they don't know what they are. And it
Yeah,
made
well,
somebody happy to get it, and
this
it
is
made me
what's
a couple
needed.
bucks
This is what's nice if you have specialized knowledge, like Sasha has toy knowledge.
about
And so
some stuff.
yeah, so you're able to see stuff other people think is junk, but you're like, "Oh, I could take this and I could flip it and sell it for a lot more money." And an
Right.
average person wouldn't know that if you're not in that sphere. So that's pretty cool you can do that. We got another power chat. Thank you, Louis Cipher. I appreciate it. Does Sasha make her own hats? Do you
No.
remember the knitted beer can hats back in the day? I do remember those. Do you, where you drink out of them? Remember you have a beer on your head?
Mm-mm.
Do you make your own hats, Sasha?
No.
Okay. Uh, Tony, for Rams, but Sasha can confirm. Why do so many people burn out in politics and need to discuss other issues? Is it because the problems stay put and rarely get solved? People feel they can solve issues in their own lives easier. Um, why do people get burnt? Well, I'd like to just back up even from the premise of that question. I would say most people don't really spend a lot of time on politics anyway. So
Mm-mm.
it's like they don't get burned out. They just don't, or they just have a vague understanding of it and they have their opinions, but they don't really get too involved. And that's why I always said like Vivek, we're all excited, in the Twitter space and or X space about him. But then in the real polls, he doesn't do that great. And I'm like that because he doesn't really have normie name recognition. And we tend to sometimes ourselves live in an echo chamber and think everyone thinks like we do or listens to the same stuff. And this is why, and I didn't mean to get people pissed off, but I get a question. Oh, do you think Nick Fuentes is leading the next generation of
No.
Zoomers, whatever? And I'm like, no. I mean, if anyone, it's Taylor Swift. I mean, she won
Right.
Person of the Year. And I'm not saying, I like Taylor Swift. I'm just trying to keep it real. I mean, we
Right.
sometimes, I think, way overinflate ourselves. I remember after 2016, all these people on the right, like Richard Spencer and Mike Enoch, everyone was saying they're the reason Trump won. And I'm like, boy,
No.
that's an ego you guys have.
Big time ego.
It really isn't. And I think a lot of times we tend to overinflate, and it makes sense because if you're interested in a certain topic or sphere, you forget a lot of people just don't know it at all. I mean,
Right.
and so to answer your question, Tony, a lot of people just don't get involved in the first place, or just on a superficial level. And but yeah, some people, I always said, I always preach, you got to have good balance in your life. And see, to me, the reason I do these shows and when I start doing my videos, it's not like I do it because, oh, this is what I got to do. I hate doing it, but this is what I need to do. I've always, even before YouTube, even when I was a kid, I always thought about politics and current events. I told people, and it was true. I subscribed to National Review when I was 12 years old. Always loved history, reading about war. So all of this stuff to me isn't like, oh, I have to do it. I enjoy it. So I don't really get burned out on it per se. But even with me, that's just not like my whole life. And I think sometimes people get surprised when they meet me in many ways. Like I'm a lot more quiet than they would expect because I talk all the time on my streams. But in real life, I tend to be more shy and quiet. And I don't talk politics 24/7 in my life. I really don't. I
No.
do because of my show. So I think all of that kind of fits in there. But I do think, to answer your question, Tony, I think it's good to have a good balance in your life. It doesn't mean to get rid of politics or don't ignore current events, because I think it's important to keep aware of that. But I think it's people can get too obsessed or too upset about things you really can't control.
Yeah, people get tired of listening to that shit. I don't know. I'm kind of tired of it.
Yeah,
It just puts you in a bad mood. It's like going on Twitter. I'll go on Twitter for a few minutes and I'm like, why am I on here?
yeah,
Like, it's just like, I don't know, it just pisses me off. And then I go do something else. And I mean,
yeah,
it's good to know what's going on, but people are just on there 24/7. It's kind of, I don't think it's healthy. You got to have other
yeah.
things in your life besides obsessing over Biden and all this shit.
Yeah, it,
You
it
know,
is. I
like,
mean, it's like, yeah, I like to report on, let's say, the corruption of Hunter Biden. But in the end of the day, my opinion doesn't really make any difference about that. It's what it is.
right.
Johnny, $5. Do people in older days believe in magic easier? I watched a Sherlock Holmes movie where detective work uncovers a villain is using tricks to appear like magic. Was this easier, say, in 1800? Secrets to magic seem debunked nowadays. I don't know in 1800s. I don't think. Well, first of all, I think, are you talking like European people and civilized people? Because even in 1800, they understood they didn't believe in magic. An average person, I mean, they could believe in God and stuff, um, but someone primitive would fall for it. I mean, but throughout history, there's always been people that are into different stuff. You remember, Sasha, seances were popular in 19th century in the upper class. And in fact, we saw that when we went to that Tinker House in
Hmm.
Rockford. They
Yeah.
used to have seances and shit like that. So that sort of stuff was popular. I don't think it's really changed one way or the other. I think there's a lot of people that are still into that sort of stuff now, magic and spells. I mean, you see all that shit sells now. But I always thought it was. So I don't think people in the older days believed in it easier. I'm saying it's more common now than in the past because of in the past people were more religious, so they didn't have to do the magic bit.
Right.
So that's kind of my take on that. I don't know. You have any thoughts on that, Sasha?
Not really.
Yeah. All right. Just a couple of well, I thought we'd go over a couple of things, Sasha. We saw a series, a couple of movies. I want to say, yeah, 3 movies really recently, just in the last 2 days. Couple on Netflix and one we went to the movie theater. Should we do it in chronological order? Maybe
Sure,
why don't we
however,
start first? Yeah, let's
sure,
start
however you
that.
want to see it.
The first movie we saw, and let me see if I can't show a trailer here on YouTube. Let me just see if I can bring up the um, yeah, a thing on this just so you guys can see this. Uh, yeah, this is the first one. Sasha's like, no, I don't want to see this. I'm like, oh, this could be good.
Yeah.
Sasha's like, no, let's don't. A
And
man
Sasha was
called
right.
Yeah, she was. A Man Called Otto is a 1922 American comedy drama. Um, the premise, and it was Tom Hanks. Sasha hates Tom Hanks. I
I
don't
don't
find him.
hate. I like old Tom Hanks. Like,
But you
let's
don't
get
like the
this
new
straight.
Tom Hanks, yeah?
Well, he hasn't done. When was the last time he did anything good? Can you tell me? Like,
I
was
thought
it
he was good enough.
Castaway?
I thought he
Like
was good
that's
in Apollo 13. I thought he was good.
even pre-Castaway,
Yeah,
I
I know it
think.
was.
So that's
Yeah.
what I mean. He hasn't done shit that's worthwhile in a long time, and we know he's super political now. So yeah, the movie's
Hmm.
going to have some bullshit message. So I just kind of steer clear of Tom Hanks. But I used to like Tom Hanks. I like The Money Pit.
Hmm.
We remember that thing I found at my dad's, and it had a list of like I had all my friends fill it out,
Hmm.
and I kept it, and it was from like 8th grade. And I even had him listed as one of my favorite actors. Remember that? And you were like
Yeah.
shocked. So it's not like I hated him. I loved him when I was a kid. Money Pit was awesome. The Burbs was awesome. Splash was awesome. Like he was in so Turner and Hooch, I still love. So he was good at one time. Then he got super political and he started thinking he's a dramatic actor. He's not that good at drama. Sorry. He's better at being funny. And so I don't know. I just kind of stay away from him now because I don't think he does good stuff anymore. And I think I'm right. I never saw his Mr. Rogers because I just figured it'd be crap.
Yeah, I didn't have an interest
So
in that either. So the show, the premise was this older guy. He's just been forced retired, and his wife had just passed away like 6 months earlier. His little soulmate, and so he was kind of planning to commit suicide. Um, and then each time he tried to kill himself, he would be interrupted. And it started out there was this family that moved in that had a couple kids, and she was pregnant, and she was Hispanic or Mexican, and the guy was a doofus white. And so I was like, oh, okay, I could put up with this a little bit. I get the propaganda, the vibrant couple trying to show the old man that's bitter about life and enjoying it. I'm like, I can deal with this a little. And then where it pushed me to the end, then there was another neighbor I think was gay. Remember that jogger? He can't, yeah,
yeah.
gay anyway. But then they put in a transgender thing, and I'm like, no, I'm out. Once they got a transgender character, I just said I'm not going to watch this because the whole thing, his wife was like this little good progressive angel, and he was like a cynical man. And I didn't even see the whole show, but I could tell it was going to be the nice Mexican couple along with the transgender dude is going to teach him about the true meaning of life, blah blah. You get
Right.
But someone watched the show I heard on Gumroad because we turned it off. I didn't want to see it all.
I
And he said,
begged
well,
for
yeah,
like 20 minutes to turn
I
it
guess there's a
off.
spoiler, but I don't care spoiling bad shows. He does kill himself finally at the end and gives all his money to the Hispanic woman and her brood and the transgender dude. And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy we turned that off. So that was disappointing. I thought there was something there could be interesting. While we were watching it, Sasha said, well, this is kind of like Falling Down, but Falling Down was better. I never saw that. I should watch that.
Well, it's kind of different than Falling Down, but at first it started out like he was kind of upset about his lot in life and stuff, and that's kind of how Falling Down was a lot different. It didn't have
Yeah.
like a family.
That was
It
Michael
was a
Douglas,
better,
right?
it was he's a better actor than Tom
Yeah.
Hanks, and it's a better movie.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it in a long time. But
maybe we should watch that. So we didn't even get through that whole movie. I think that was a made for Netflix one. I don't know. I was just looking for something different. To be fair, Sasha was busy doing like a what were you doing? Your Christmas tree Lego thing. So,
but I was watching too. I mean, I can.
yeah, no,
like,
she was
do
in the
both.
same room. She can do both.
I knew what was going on, and I didn't like
Yeah.
what was going on.
So I would not recommend that movie. I can put up with a little bit of wokeness, but that just pushed me to my limit. I'm like,
Mm.
no, I'm not watching this.
Come on, Chuck.
And then so I decided to go to an old movie that I never watched, and I liked it. It was Electric Cowboy, and it was Robert Redford and Jane Fonda, and basically the premise was a cowboy that was like a champion. Let me just bring this up. That was had been a 5-time winning cowboy champion in the rodeo. He ended up no, the Electric Horseman. I'm sorry, the Electric Horseman. Let me just bring this up. He had been that, but then he got famous and he got like a corporate deal where he's on like a cereal box, and here it is, and he kind of sold out, and because of that he wasn't his true nature anymore, and he started to drink a lot. And this corporation, they had this like thoroughbred horse, and they drugged the horse up, and he was supposed to use it in a promotion in Las Vegas, but finally something just clicked in him, and he got on the horse, and he literally just rode it out of Las Vegas down the strip, and it was like a very valuable horse owned by the company. And so the plot was, the evil corporation, the police trying to find Robert Redford and his horse he's stolen. And his goal of stealing the horse was to eventually set it free. And then Jane Fonda was like the shit lib reporter from, I guess, New York City or whatever. And she tracked him down. And then they kind of had a romance of sorts. And I liked the movie in a couple of reasons. Really, it didn't. You don't have to be super sophisticated to understand that the horse and Robert Redford, or the cowboy, was the same story. It's like the horse was meant to be a racer, but instead was doing all these promotions with dancing girls and was on steroids, drugged up. And the cowboy, Robert Redford, he got away from his roots, and he was just becoming something he was not. He became like a commercial salesman, and with all this gaudy, they called it Electric Horseman because they had all this lights on them and everything. So it was like getting back to your roots, really what you are, both him and the horse. And I thought it was really good. As I was telling this Sasha, well, I wouldn't put it like really good, but it was good. I thought Robert Redford did an excellent job. Jane Fonda at the time, I know she's a shit lib. I get it, guys. But usually her acting's pretty good. But I just didn't feel, and Sasha I think felt the same way. They didn't have a lot of good chemistry trying to be this romantic couple. At least I didn't feel that, right, Sasha? You
Well,
commented on that?
that's what I said when we were watching it. I said it's
Yeah,
not a bad movie, but I'm having trouble like thinking that they were like really in love, or
yeah,
like it just didn't seem. Some people have good chemistry in movies, they didn't.
yeah. I kind of got that vibe from that. And another thing that was interesting from a 1979 movie was it was basically all white, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And you couldn't do a movie like that anymore. And it was kind of a well, I don't know. Can you have like a hero be a white male with blonde hair anymore?
I don't know, probably not.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because you were never a big fan, were you, of Robert Redford?
I mean,
Like a lot of
I don't hate
women were
him.
back then, or
Well, I was like, that came out the year I was born, so, but I mean, he was already kind of gone in the, I know he did stuff in the 80s, I guess, but I was a kid in the 80s. I liked kid type movies or comedies and stuff. I wasn't really into romantic
no, I don't mean
stuff
that.
till
I
I got
mean him
older.
as a character, because even though like Jim
Well,
Morrison, you still found like sexy and an attractive man,
yeah, I was a teenage girl
and
that
that
listened to
was
rock music
before,
though. Like
yeah,
what
and then
Robert Redford was in movies I'd never seen.
yeah, but
Like
he
he
was
was more like
considered
my
back.
aunt's generation or something.
Yeah, he was considered kind of like one of his sex symbols back then. I don't know.
I mean, he's not bad looking or anything. I just
Yeah.
never really watched him, so I didn't really have an opinion on him.
So it was, but I liked it, and also showed what you wouldn't see today. In the 70s, like what was those bandit shows?
Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit. There was a lot of vibe of like the police is anti-police, anti-authority, anti-big corporation government, and you saw that as a theme in this movie. And anymore, they don't really do that because all the shit libs. Oh my God, we love the FBI police, and big corporations like Google. And so
Right.
it's really kind of changed that way. Whereas people rooted for the cowboy type that kind of defied authority. Now they'd probably call him a terrorist or something. But
Probably.
yeah, I thought it was so that changed too. And you got to see the old Las Vegas in 1979, which was kind of fun
Yeah,
and
that was cool.
brought back memories when I went first in the mid 80s because it's really changed a lot. Um, but I would put that on the if you guys haven't seen that, I definitely it's a good movie. I never got bored. And one of the first thing I determine with a movie is, do I get bored watching the movie, to start looking at my watch or something, or I don't wear a watch, but my phone, looking at the time. I didn't with that. It kind of kept my interest, and I thought it had kind of a good message. The cowboy American spirit, and there's some good cinematography out in the West too. It was kind of a western in a way,
It
actually,
was.
and they had a lot of was that Willie Nelson's music in it,
Yeah.
and that was really good. And uh, I. I would definitely give it a thumbs up. Check it out. I think it was a good movie. It's not an offensive movie that I found. That's They didn't really have a lot of propaganda in it. The only about the political propaganda I guess they would have had back then, which was kind of common again, was anti big corporations try to commercialize everything. I guess there's a little bit of that, right? They don't really care about the horse or the cowboy; they just want to make money. But that's kind of true anyway, though.
Right.
What were your thoughts on that, Sasha? I've
Um,
been
I I
blabbering.
I liked it. It wasn't like my favorite movie or anything. I thought it was kind of slow, but it
Yeah,
was it was pretty, and it did have a good message. And um, I mean, it was enjoyable. It's worth watching at least once.
I would
But
say
will I
so.
watch it again? Probably not.
Yeah, it's not going to go down. I agree with Sasha. It's not going to go down as one of the great all-time romantic movies or anything like that. Even, and one of the things I wanted to bring up too, and I don't want to spoil it for everyone. This isn't a huge spoiler, but you would think that today, if they made this movie, at the end, Jane Fonda and her character as a reporter, probably. I thought this was going to happen, Sasha. I didn't know how it was going to end. I thought at the very end she was just going to quit her reporting career and ride off with Robert Redford into the sunset, basically. And she didn't. She went back to New York to do her reporting career, and he did his thing. I mean, they probably never saw each other again in the according to the movie. And usually in modern day movies, we're kind of talking about this on Gumroad today. They're very cookie color cutter. They're scared to take chances and do something different. And I saw that as a change. Do you agree with that? That it'd be written different today? They would end up together.
Yeah, they probably would. Well, they have to like stuff even like Rocky. I don't think they could have him lose. Like remember in the first Rocky, he didn't win, and I
Yeah,
don't think they could do that. Of course, he won all the sequels, but
right.
it's
I
kind of like that. Like they would have had to have sex. They would have had to. It wouldn't have probably been. It was kind of wholesome almost.
yeah.
Like
I mean,
it was like kind of a PG rated like romance.
oh yeah, you can watch it with your kids. There's really no anything real bad on that. Um, Yeah, I think today they would do a focus group, and the focus group before they release their film would say, "Oh, we want to end on a happier note where they're together," and it didn't end on a sad note. I mean, it was basically he returned to his roots. He was escaping his artificial lifestyle he had been in, and he wanted to go back to be more of a simple cowboy. And she got his sense of really what he was trying to do, and she had to go back to what she was doing. Uh, so it made sense, I think, but it's not how they would have ended the movie today, I don't think.
No.
So it was I think it was a good movie. Recommend that. And it was good. And
Yeah,
then
it was good.
yeah, and then the final movie we saw today, and Sasha had never seen it, and I saw it a long time ago, but I consider this a classic Christmas movie. Was A Christmas Story,
Yeah, I
and
liked it.
this was at the it was released how many years ago? 30, 40 years ago?
40. This was the
40 years
40th
ago.
anniversary.
And you got probably, let me bring this up, but you guys probably have seen it. Oh, we got one. Sarah Wallace say super chat. Thank you, Sarah. The Sarah. Ernest Saves Christmas is free on YouTube right now. Just watched it for the first time in decades and loved it. Older movies are always better. We should watch that, Sasha.
I've seen
Ernest.
it, and I think I'll pass. Like,
Yeah,
that's like
Ernest.
Brandon's favorite Christmas movie. I'm not big into Ernest. When I was a kid, I kind of liked it, but I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
so
think
I was never a fan of Ernest either, but thank you for giving
I
that man
saw it
a
probably
shot.
5 years ago. Like,
Hmm.
and I mean, it was, I don't know, it's just not for me.
Yeah, and here's this. But thank you, Sarah, for that. That was it's always good to get those movies. But this movie was released in 1983. I was in college at the time, and it was kind of funny because we took debated when this was supposed to take place. I thought it was like 48, 49, but it was supposed to take place, you heard, in 1940, right?
Right.
And so it was just a story of a kid that he wanted a BB gun, but his mom thought he'd knock his eye out. And there was a
Well,
lot of other,
everybody thought that.
yeah. And then they had the whole, this is such an old movie. A lot of people, I'm sure, know the plot and have seen it. And there's iconic scenes like the guy getting his tongue stuck to the pole and all that, and the bully. And before I go off on it, I'll just throw it to you, Sasha. You just saw it for the first time. Your thoughts in
Well, I think
general of
I'd
the
seen
movie?
it a long time ago, but like I didn't really remember because I was doing something else when it was on. It was
Hmm.
one of those things.
Hmm.
I really liked it. I thought it was funny. At first, I was like, yeah, I don't know how good this is going to really be, or maybe this didn't age well, but I enjoyed it. I liked that it took place in the 40s. A lot of it was pretty funny. I thought it was good. And it's weird the director's the guy that directed Porky's and Black Christmas,
Hmm.
Bob Clark. I thought that's probably Christmas Story is his best movie for sure.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to take place. It was in northern Indiana, and I assume because it felt like a factory town, kind of like Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
And because Gary, Indiana, they did have white people live there back then, and I mean there's some blacks in the movie too, but I kind of got the sense that's where it was supposed to take place in. And oh, I hear your cats are having a big fight.
Hold
It's so
on.
funny how they
Hey,
do.
Chunk, shut up.
Chuck.
Hey. Sorry about that. He
Oh, no
fights all the
worries.
time.
I
He
know.
stands in front of the water dish and he won't let the other cats drink.
I
I
know.
caught him doing that earlier and he was sleeping on the counter. He's kind of a nice cat, but he just doesn't like the other cats.
Yeah. I
So
yeah, no, that was any of your other thoughts about that Christmas story?
I thought it was funny. They couldn't make it now. Like
No.
there was a part that was really funny, and they had to eat at a Mexican or a Chinese restaurant for Christmas,
Yeah.
and they had these Chinese people singing Christmas songs to them. It was so funny, and they're like, "Fa ra 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 ra
Yeah,
ra
they
ra
can't
ra,"
because they don't have the L sound in their
right?
language.
And it
Yeah.
just cracked me up. And the guy was like, "No, it's fa la 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 la," and he's trying to tell him how to say it, and it was really funny.
Yeah, they couldn't do that joke. And well, obviously they couldn't do the joke because the movie because all the main characters well, all the any character, all the characters were white. And it was about a different time back then. It was kind of like the old America. It's kind of nice seeing it. It was based somewhat on a guy, he wrote a series of stories or whatever about his childhood.
Hold on a
So
second. I gotta
yeah,
go
go
break
ahead.
this up.
Yeah, Sasha will go break up. Oh wow, we should put this cat
Cut
fight
that
on.
shit off. What the fuck?
Sounds like it's really going there. So yeah, we'll get back and hear who won the fight
Buddy,
and
come over
stuff.
here. All right, I'm back. Sorry
So
about that.
who was instigator, you think, on that fight?
Probably Chunk. I don't know. Buddy just wants to play with him, and he's all.
Chuck is
Anytime
the male
anybody wants.
cat that was Sasha's dad. She
His
inherited it.
name's Sweetie, but I call him
Yeah,
Chunk
because
too
he's
because
kind of
he's
fat.
fat, and
And
he's just a big
but
Garfield. Sit
he kind of what
around.
happens to other cats just go by him. They're not really being mean, but he freaks out, starts to howl, and then everything escalates.
Well, I've seen him, Louise slap him in the head, so she does
Mhm.
escalate stuff. But Buddy, I don't think Buddy does.
I got a power chat. Then we'll go back to the Christmas story. But thank you. This is Lewis Cipher. Thank you. $10. Yay! Have you heard the metal band Ice Nine Kills? They sing a song about horror movies. Also, well, first of all, ask I Sasha's a heavy metal person. Have you heard the band Ice Nine
Mm-mm.
Kills?
I'm not that. I mean, I like some old metal and stuff, but no, I haven't.
Yes, you were rocking the Metallica just the other night here.
Oh yeah, because I bought Injustice for All on vinyl.
Yeah,
That was
it's
my
good.
Christmas gift to myself.
Yeah, and so no, I guess I haven't heard of Ice Nine
Mm-mm.
Kills, and neither has Sasha. Also, Tom Hanks' best movie was The Burbs. I never saw that. Did you see that, Sasha?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier.
Oh,
I
The
liked it.
Burbs.
I think my favorites. I don't know. It's I really like Splash and I really like the Money Pit. Oh, I love Turner and Hooch, even though it's sad. But I
Hmm.
love the dog in that. And I remember when it came out when I was a kid, we went to see it. My aunt took me to see it, and she just hated the dog. He said that dog is so nasty. Remember
Hmm.
the dog? It would like get drool on everything. And Tom Hanks played this cop that was very OCD about his surroundings and being
Yeah,
very clean. And that dog comes in and just trashes the place. And I don't
yeah,
know. That might actually be my favorite Tom Hanks movie because it was funny. The dog drank beer. It was
yeah,
sad, but it was like it was really sad, but at the same time, it was really funny. Um,
yeah,
and then at the end, the dog he passed on his genes, and there's all these like dogs that look just like him, these puppies, and you can tell like they're gonna tear up everything just like Hooch did. But and
yeah.
they remade that. I think I saw that they remade that for TV or something a few years ago, and I thought, why? I don't know why, like we said earlier, like Hollywood has no creativity anymore. They just remake everything over and over again.
Did they remake it like race swapped or something too?
Probably. Well, it was funny. We went to see Christmas Story. My gay friend went with us, and he's kind of like he's a lefty, but it was funny. We were talking about Hallmark movies because I don't know how the subject. They showed a trailer or something. I said it's like a Hallmark movie, and he said, "Yeah, they've got gay characters in those now." And he said, "We didn't fight for years for equality to end up in these horrible movies." And it's just like I thought that was kind of funny because it's like they are pretty bad. I said, well, back in the '80s, I remember they'd have like Hallmark movies that weren't bad. They did The Secret Garden, and I thought it was really good when I was a kid. But now they're always these kind of, ooh, I live in kind of a small town. I'm new to the town, and then like my friend said, it'll be like the guy that owns the bookstore is the best looking guy in town, and they fall in love. It's real simple. Like I feel like I could sit down and probably write a screenplay for like a Hallmark movie. That's how bad that they are. But I just thought it was funny.
Oh, the other thing he said, Lewis did that. Bob Clark's, he was the guy that directed A Christmas Story, was murdered by an illegal alien, and I looked it up in 2007. They were in a head-on crash, and the guy that killed him was Hector Velasquez, whatever Nava, some illegal, and he was drunk, and he was an illegal alien and killed him. So it was a drunk illegal alien killed the director of A Christmas Story
Oh
in
yeah, I remember
cold
when he died. It wasn't that long ago. Was it like
2007.
2016? Oh, 2007. Okay, man, it was a
Yeah,
long time ago. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember when he died. I didn't realize it was a legal alien.
yeah. Guy that was drunk and
Well,
killed
what's
him.
crazy is that guy made like such a good movie. Christmas Story really was a good movie. Like I think it was shot well. It was like it had a
Mhm.
good story. It was funny. It had like it was kind of wholesome. And then you look at Porky's and you're like, wow, the same guy like directed Porky's, directed Christmas Story. They had good range
Mhm.
to be able to do both of those movies because you've never even seen Porky's, have you?
No, I haven't.
It's kind of bad. Well, it's set in the 50s too. It's about these guys and they just want to like have sex. And then
Mhm.
Porky's is like a whorehouse and they go. And of
Mm.
course, Porky doesn't want them in there. And like one of the guys keeps showing up and he gets the shit kicked out of him. And so they advise a plan to get even. And it's not like the
Mhm.
worst movie ever. Kim Cattrall's in it and she's really young in it and she's funny. Like there's this gym teacher that wants to sleep with her and they call her Lassie and he doesn't know why. And so he gets her in the room and she like howls like a dog and
Oh,
like and if you don't know who Kim Cattrall is because you're gonna say I don't know who Kim Cattrall is, she was in Sex in the City.
yeah, I
She
remember
was
that.
the
Yeah.
pretty one, I think.
Mhm.
Anyway, to me, she was the prettiest one. She's the oldest
Mhm.
one too, but she Porky's was like one of her first movies.
So that was the same director.
And then Black Christmas, that's a pretty good scary movie too. I think they remade
Mhm.
Black Christmas too, and it had Margot
Mhm.
Kidder in it. And you probably don't know who she is either. She's in Wonder Woman, or not Wonder
Mhm.
Woman, Superman. Superman.
Oh, okay.
My brain's fried, but yeah, she died too. I don't know. It's been a while since she died. I heard she kind of like was nuts and lost her mind. One of my friends met her at some convention before she died, and he was all happy to meet her. I think she was Canadian. Hey, knock it off. No, Louise and Buddy are fighting.
Oh, wow.
Hey.
The big fights, Sunday night fights at
Well, I think they
Satchmel's
were fighting when I was gone last night. One of the
Mhm.
boxes upstairs was on the floor, and I think they were
Yeah.
up there carrying on while I was gone. So I can't even leave them alone. See her ears
Yeah.
are all perked back. Come here. Hey, come here.
Yeah.
Sit up here. Just calm down.
My impression of the movie, I consider it. I could see this could be a holiday tradition for a lot of people watching that movie. To me, it's a true Christmas movie. It's just not set during Christmas. It's about Christmas, and it's about a time in America that's somewhat gone, but there's still some relics of it. The white middle class, like factory workers. You got a sense he was like a blue collar worker, and you had the family, and you were Christian, and it captured a time that's somewhat gone now. But yeah, I thought it was definitely it's one of my favorite Christmas movies, a Christmas story. And it was interesting before the movie they had a guy talk a little bit about it because it was a special release
Oh,
when they
Leonard
released.
Maltin, I think.
Yeah, Leonard Maltin. They didn't even think it was going to be a popular movie. It was kind of a throwaway movie, but then it did better the second week than the first week, then better the third week, and then they had to pull it out because they already
Yenta.
had Yenta. They had by Barbara Streisand, and that bombed. But then they released it a year later, and it did really well. So it's one of those movies that really they didn't really think it was going to do that well, but it surprised a lot of people.
Hmm.
Maybe
Yeah, I
because
thought
the
I thought
audience
it was
was.
really good. It's a buddy of mine's like favorite movie. He bought a box of Christmas cards of it, and
Yeah.
every year for like I think I'm the only person he ever gave a Christmas card to because I get a Christmas story card. I want to say every year for like almost 20 years it seemed
Mhm.
like until recently, and he ran out of them. So I got a
Yeah.
pack card this year, but he loved it. And I don't know why I never really watched it. Like I think, like I said, I think I got it from the library years ago. Put it in. I was doing something else, and then I'm glad we went because I did enjoy it. And I haven't really watched any Christmas movies since the season started.
I know. So it's like
Before
our
I got
first.
so busy with cleaning and doing all this shit, like I used to sit down and watch all the Christmas cartoons from the
Hmm.
80s and Pee Wee's. I always watch the Pee Wee Christmas special. I watch the Muppet Family Christmas, of course, Rudolph, the Charlie Brown Christmas, all that. But I'm kind of behind. I need to maybe start watching some of that stuff.
Yeah, it is fun to see that, and so those were the 3 movies. If I had to rank them, then I'll ask Sasha to rank them. I think, A Christmas Story was the best by far, then The Electric Horseman, number 2, and then A Man Named Otto was the bottom. I didn't even get through that just because of the, heavy-handed propaganda elements in it. I just couldn't deal with it anymore.
Yeah, I
How about
agree
you?
with you. I would
That's
rank
your
them the
rating too?
same. Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
and, it was good. I don't think I would see the Electric Horseman again, not because I hate it. It's just I don't. It's one of those movies you don't really necessarily need
It
to
was
see
neat,
again.
like you say. It was neat to see the. It was neat to see Vegas because we were talking about watching all the movies that took place in Vegas. Like recently, we said, I wonder how many movies take place in Vegas and what all we'd have to watch to see everything. That
You
would be
know this.
something fun to do.
Yeah, this came out in 1979, and it was just like a decade prior. Jane Fonda was cavorting with a North Vietnamese. It's really weird, and it's hard to. Sasha and I were talking about this. Is to separate the actress, I mean the person from the roles. I think she's a good actress, but she had really shit politics. That it is just typical. I mean, she married a billionaire, extremely rich, but I don't know. What's your whole thought about Jane Fonda as an actress and as a person?
Well, I mean, I think she's a shitty person. I don't agree with the war in Vietnam either, but you don't go pose for
Right.
photos with. I mean, people had to die for that bullshit, and it's like,
Yeah.
how come she's allowed back in the country? She should have been
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you go live in communism, then, bitch." Because it's like,
You know.
even though being involved in that was bad for us, I mean, I don't think the people over there were good people. Like their
No, they
government
weren't.
obviously wasn't, and it's like she shouldn't have been in there. And
No.
it's kind of like all's forgiven. And she's still in movies. Like We're talking about people. I was talking, I think, to Mosca about this. Like a lot of the people that are famous now, like Nicole Kidman's one of these people. Like she started in the late '80s, and she was kind of famous, but she was never like that famous. Now she's in like everything, and it's kind of like Jane Fonda's still in a lot of stuff too, and she's 80, and I still see her plastic face like all over when I'm looking at movies on streaming sites and stuff. So she's kind of still relevant even today, and she's like 80. And
Didn't
it's like
you
that'd be
see?
anybody else. Like they would have been like, no, screw you. But she's
I,
allowed to do her bullshit.
can I share your story about the person you knew with Jane Fonda?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, Sasha knew someone that actually worked for Jane Fonda,
it was a
and
gig. It was my
yeah.
sister. Like you can tell, I don't
Oh,
care.
okay.
I
But
don't think it's a bad
Jane
story,
Fonda
really.
asked her to get pot, or
She
people
didn't
were.
ask my sister. She asked one of her friend. Her friend got her. It was just like a gig.
Yeah,
She had like a ranch, and they needed somebody to work. And my sister's friend. It was a kind of like a catering type thing.
yeah.
Or they just worked. And she said she was nice. She said they had she had horses and
I just thought
um,
it's funny someone that famous would ask to help to, "Hey,
well,
can you give me some pot?"
this was before it was legal everywhere,
No, I
though,
know, that's why I mean, still, though, it's just kinda
right? Because
funny.
now you could just go to the dispensary and
Oh,
get it.
speaking of which, just after the movie, Robert Redford, he had a big ranch in Montana, and he didn't really participate in the Hollywood, I guess, lifestyle after a bit. And he actually that horse in that movie, he in real life purchased and kept it on
Yeah,
his ranch. And all the riding scenes, I thought they were using maybe a stunt double because he rode that horse pretty hard some places. That he rode it. That he was a good horseman, so that was all real. And I thought that was kind of cool.
that is cool.
So I loved him in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That Paul Newman was his buddy in that. I thought they played a great role. I enjoyed that cowboy movie.
I've never
So
seen it.
I liked it. You might like it. You might give it a chance. I think you might like it.
Is it a musical?
No, it's a like cowboy story, but it's good. It really is, and I think you'd like it. We should try sometime.
Yeah.
I got one. Let's see here. This is from Robert. Thank you, Robert. Norman Lear passed away at age of 101 last week. All these old people, man, that's a long time to live.
It is.
Rams, can you explain Lear's moral attack on America of the past? Lear was aimed to be an atheist and a prejudice against Christianity. Well, obviously Norman Lear was Jewish, although he was an atheist. And yeah, he had a lot of influence in the 70s sitcoms and pushing this social agenda back then that was kind of tamed by today's standards. He had like I think All in the Family and all those type of shows. Uh, I don't know if he did Mod, but he had a lot of those shows. He
He did.
implemented. He pushed a certain left wing political point of view, definitely, and I think he was very influential in the whole cultural Marxism. He was one of the most influential at the time, I thought. Um, so I was not a
Yeah,
big
it
fan
kind
of
of
him. But
backfired to some degree though, because like people ended up liking Archie Bunker.
yeah, it was. He
Was
was
kind of what
always.
was funny. It was supposed to be like, oh, you don't like this bigoted asshole, but actually he was kind of like a hero. And they didn't make him kind of like a good guy in some ways too, even though he was supposed to be the
Mhm.
bad guy. Like, because honestly, like me and my friend were talking about it. My friend's like liberal, but not like a leftist. But he
You get. You got. I can't hear you, Sasha. Are you crash or did I crash? Hello, Sasha. You're frozen, or maybe I'm frozen. I don't know if Sasha has issues or I'm
Yeah, there we
having.
go. I don't know. You were having issues too. It was like lagging.
Oh,
I
it
don't know
was
where I
okay.
lost you.
Yeah.
I'm back now, I guess. But oh, what I was going to say is my friend watched. He watched it when he was in college, and he said like even though you're not supposed to like Archie, he said he couldn't stand Gloria and Meathead. And you watch
Yeah.
it now, and even kind of he made them look like shit too, though. So it's kind of I
Right.
don't know. Maybe it was more like destructive against the family because I remember there was an episode because I watched it. I didn't see it till I was like 18,
Hmm.
and my cousin's wife, she liked to watch it at night, and we started watching it. And I remember there was one where Meathead got some money. He inherited some money from his aunt, and Archie'd been, they were living with Archie for free while he went to college. And he was like, "Well, are you going to give me some of this money since I've been like feeding you?" Because if you remember, the big joke on there was Meathead ate him out of a house and home.
Hmm.
and he wasn't going to give him money. He was going to give it to some political campaign that went against Archie, whoever Archie was going to vote for. So it'd probably be the left wing person. But he made him look like just a shithead. So it didn't necessarily make like people on the left look good either, though, because like I said, they were unlikable if you watch it.
It was
Um,
funny. I never watched this series. It's on Amazon Prime, but they ran into the same issue and they had to change it. The Man in the High Castle. I forgot the name of it.
oh, I
That
wanted to kind of watch that when it first came out, but I think it's just kind of propaganda too.
Well, that's what I thought. It was American dystopian alternative history, saying like, what if the Axis, Nazi Germany and Japan defeated America? What would it be like? And I guess the first couple of seasons, they showed pretty much a white America without crime and pretty
People
orderly,
didn't like
and
that.
and people loved it. The audience was like, "Huh, I think this looks a lot better than what we got now."
Yeah.
So it kind of backfired on them. So they had to rewrite it and make it them see a lot worse. So sometimes that happens. They just will say something, and it is kind of um, funny how that will work. And it kind of reminds me of this one guy who's some shit lib was let me just it's it's 11 seconds. So this guy's doing this anti-white thing, and this guy responds, and it's so true. Let me show you, Sasha, if you can see this.
Why don't we put white people on islands so that we reduce their population?
Here's the thing, though. It would quickly become the best island, and then all you guys would just want to come to it.
What?
He's just like, it's true, though. It's true.
Is. Well, why do they always want to come over here?
It is. So it's like,
and it's not just like people from south of the border. I mean, we have a lot of Asians.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Indians,
It's amazing.
everybody
It's like
wants to come here.
they have this weird dual thing. It's like, oh, white people are evil and blah blah blah, but oh, we have a right to be around you, and don't go separate from us because they know they'd be shitty, if they weren't around white people. So it is kind of funny,
Right.
but that kind of reminds me of some of the stuff there. So yeah. Yeah, we're doing good now. We just had I guess a lag or something. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was my end. I'm not sure what happened.
I'm not sure. It's okay now, I guess.
Yeah, you froze for a second. You said I froze on your end, so I guess we all froze. So sorry about that, guys. So that was kind of our movie going thing. We did that. I still haven't seen Napoleon. I'd like to see that. One of our friends.
Maybe next week we can go see that.
Yeah, one of our friends, he may see tonight. He went with the Christmas Story with us. He wants to see that Godzilla movie.
Yeah, I told him I'd go over break, but he looked it up, and I guess after Wednesday it's out of theaters.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know if it didn't do well. He has weird theories about like why it's getting pulled, but I don't really know the real reason.
I never was anti-Godzilla. I just never really got into them.
I liked them when I was a kid. I used to watch them.
I know big lizard things, crashing things in Japan. That's all I know about it. So
yeah, when I was a kid, I thought they were fun. I watched the one that came out a few years ago, the first remake of the. I wasn't that crazy about it. I didn't see the last one that came out, and then there was Godzilla versus. What the hell was that one? There was one.
Was it against King Kong, or did he fight?
Yes, King Kong. But I didn't see that one.
Yeah. Years ago, I saw that King Kong movie in the 70s. It was pretty good.
I never saw the one in the 70s.
I liked it from what I remembered, but that was so many years ago that
I like the one from the 30s, and I thought the one from 05 wasn't bad. I'm sure people will say
I didn't see the one in 05. I just saw the 70s one. A lot of movies is interesting too. Your perception of them will change when you look at them later. At least for me.
They do. Me too.
I could love a movie when I was younger, then I watch it later. I'm like, boy, this was stupid. What was I thinking? Or I hated a movie when I was younger, then I see it now and I'm like, I actually enjoy it. Some of it depends where you are in your life, if you can understand it. It is, I don't know what, there was some movie I saw recently like that. I really enjoyed it at the time, but then I saw it recently. I'm like, this is kind of dumb. I don't know, but that happens at times. So
it does.
Yeah, so that's.
But I don't think you were as into movies like where I would watch the same shit over and over again. Like,
yeah,
you were one of those people that see a movie and you wouldn't see it again for 20 years. Whereas, like, if I like something, growing up, I'd watch it like 100 times. Like,
I think our approach.
memorized.
I think our approach to pop culture is radically different. I mean, you really get into movies, you really get into bands and all that, and I to me, that's always a hard question. Like, oh, are you into this band? I'm like, wow, I've heard that song. I like their song or something. I don't really get into anything like that. I don't really get into movies. I mean, I enjoy a movie, but it's just like, then that's it. I don't, I just, and there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of people like it. They get into like Marvel movies or Star Wars and this, or they just get obsessed with it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can enjoy it, but I don't know. It's just the way I kind of, and there's a lot of movies I don't feel strongly one way or the other. It's like, oh, it's okay, but that was it. And most movies I actually forget because I watch and then it's not necessarily horrible. It's just it doesn't stick with me. I've seen most
Right.
of it that way.
It
So
depends. Well, I went through and I found all my movie stubs this summer and I glued them in like
yeah,
this scrapbook. And half the stuff I saw in my early 20s, I forgot all about it. It was so
yeah,
forgettable.
yeah. I mean, there's
So
most movies are just like you do forget about it. Did you think that someone they beforehand said, "Oh, it'd be kind of dated a Christmas Story"? I didn't think it was really that dated. Did you?
I thought it was fine. I mean, it's dated as far as it didn't have like some woke bullshit in it.
Yeah.
Like it's not like that Otto movie. Like it wasn't like that.
Oh,
Um,
we got a super chat for $10. Thank you. Woo! Let's see. I watched 2 High Castle episodes. It was terrible, even bad camera work, except when the Nazi was in the shot. That was sort of fun. The next scene was back to Scrappy Rebels and Snore. Oh, okay. I never watched it, but I know they couldn't make the obviously the Nazis to look like good guys or
no,
attractive. That'd be more interesting, really.
yeah,
But they would never do that, obviously, for
no.
obvious reasons. So, um, I never saw it though. So that's a disclaimer. I just read that they were worried some people were rooting for the wrong side. I've always been that way though. Even when I was a kid, it wasn't even ideological. It was I just thought the Germans had cool uniforms, and I kind of rooted for the underdogs. And I always like when I would always root for the Germans, like when I play a game or something. And I don't know. And again, it wasn't even political per se. It was just I just did that. It's kind of like when I play, even before the politics, I would root for like the Confederacy because I know they lost. It seemed like a noble cause. I don't know. Root for the underdog type of thing. Maybe that's it. I'm not sure what it was, but I was always that way.
Yeah.
So thank you though for that generous super chat. But then I heard that whole series went real bad, so I'm not going to try it out. I
That's
figured,
how like everything is now. It seems like though, or even something will start off kind of good and then it'll get crap. Like I used to watch Vikings
yeah.
back in like 2016 or whatever when it first started. And I watched the first couple seasons. It was pretty good.
Did they
And
end
then it
up
got
doing
like
a We Was the
progressively
Vikings?
worse. I'm not sure. I quit watching it because I ended up working 2 jobs and I just kind of like
Yeah, I
lost
heard they had a
interest. But I
blackface
heard
or
it.
something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, they did. I think they did, and then it just got kind of silly, and it was just like, well, it started out good, and then it just
Mhm.
got worse and worse, and they always
Yeah,
have to do that now. That's what I mean. They can't just do a movie or a show and just say this is how we want. Like Christmas Story, Imagine was like this. They were
mhm,
like, oh, we have this. We want to make this movie. We're going to get the people we think are best for the parts, and we're going
mhm.
to make it the way we want to. Now they can't do that. They have to go, oh, well, we have a black check, a gay check, a woman check. You have to check all these boxes.
Mhm,
Does it have some kind of story in it, or is it showing an LGBTQ thing? Like they can't
mhm.
just do like, hey, we want to make a good movie.
Yeah,
Like they
that
have to
really.
have at least a little bit of propaganda. Like I said, Christmas Story. Like I don't know, some of the movies now, like you watch them and it's like I just want to be entertained. And back in the day, they could kind of do that without so much messaging. And now it seems like every movie, like that Auto movie, that was such messaging.
It
Like
was.
right from the beginning, like ooh, he's
Yeah,
the cranky white guy. It's always like that too. And look at how cheerful this Mexican lady is. And I
right,
thought it was weird too. The woman just started bugging him right off the bat. And I thought I'd be annoyed if my neighbor was just over here asking for shit
right.
all the time. Like I'd be like, what the fuck do you want? So I don't know. I thought they were annoying to begin with. And then like, oh, he kills himself. And I thought the whole point of the movie was he didn't kill himself. That's what you told me at the beginning. And then the guy today told us that he actually did kill himself. So it's kind of like, wow.
Yeah, that's what he told me. Yeah, so I'm glad we didn't watch it to the end because that was pretty stupid. Too bad the other guys didn't kill themselves. That would have made it better. It would, I would have done like a David Lynch twist, like kept it going like this. You were like, oh, the delightful Hispanic woman, oh, the brave trans person, and then I'd have like Tom Hanks just butcher them. That would be a weird twist. That'd be kind of fun.
It would be.
Do that. We got another power chat from Lewis. Thank you, Lewis Cipher. A great Robert Redford movie is Little Foss and Big Halsey, made in 1970. You guys should see it. I will check that out. Thank you. I everything I've seen of Robert Redford, I like him as an actor. I thought he was a good actor. I really do.
What all has he been in? Like, I don't even know. Like, I haven't seen that many of his movies. Let's see. Robert.
He was in a lot of movies in the 70s.
He's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
He's 87 years old.
Yeah.
Well, he was in that Indecent Proposal movie. I never saw that, but I remember when it came out, there was a lot of controversy about it. Well, he's not hot anymore.
Well, he's almost dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Poor guy. It's nice he's still around. You were talking about if Ted Turner was still alive. He's still alive. He's old too. He's 85.
I thought he died.
No,
See some
he's
Mandela
alive.
effect. Mandela
It
effect.
is.
In the old timeline, he died. Oh, we got a rant from Rojas. Thank you, Rojas. That's the Rumble portion. And Rojas said, "A man playing Hannibal now, Rams. Is this historical at all?" What they did is they made Hannibal black in this new net. I'm not going to watch it because he wasn't black. I mean, Carthage was not black. It was Northern Africa, but Northern Africans were not black. It's just ridiculous. So, yeah, that's dumb. And we know that. We have a statue of him. He's a white guy with a beard. It's pretty sad how they do that. I hate that. If you want to do your own shit, do it. And I'm sorry Africans have a written language, so we don't know their history, but don't take ours.
Right, because you can't do that with anybody else.
No.
You can't make Martin Luther King white.
No.
So why is it okay to do it with our people? And they celebrate it when they do it with
Make
us.
Anne Frank Christian. That'd be funny.
Right. They're not going to do that, though, because, we can't do that.
Oh, no.
My God, he was in everything. Good Lord, the man was in how many TV series?
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
Episode, he really started out in, like, a lot of TV shows.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's anything. Oh, see that Little Foss and Big Halsey movie. God, I haven't. Oh, he was in The Great Gatsby. I've seen that. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
There we go, Electric Horseman. You're right. He was really popular in the 70s. Oh, he's in Out of Africa. I never saw that. Oh, Legal Eagles. I've seen that with Deborah Winger and Daryl Hannah. That was pretty good.
I mean, I think he's
okay. I've seen some of his stuff.
He's a good actor. He was. I mean,
he did the new Charlotte's Web. He did a voice. I never saw the new Charlotte's Web. I figured it wasn't. I don't know. Julia Roberts did the voice of Charlotte. I didn't like that.
He's the guy that took all his money and bought a ranch in Montana and lives up there. So probably smart. You know what I mean? That's why he's 87 and dead. I think if you just do all the Hollywood cocaine parties and prostitutes like Hunter Biden, you're going to end up dead early.
Right.
So.
Well, I know I'm just listening to this audiobook about Andy Gibb. That's what happened to him. He didn't die from drugs because he stopped doing drugs, but he did so many drugs it damaged his heart. So, I mean, it was the drugs that killed him. And I think that's what happened with Corey Haim, too. Mm-hmm. Like, he took a lot of pills. Like, I forget, they said like, he took like 30 or 40 pills a day.
Wow.
Like pain pills and all kinds of stuff. And he did eventually clean up because his mother got cancer. And I guess he was helping take care of his mom. And that was enough to clean him up. But then by the time, he got cleaned up, he'd been doing drugs for so many years, it screwed his heart up and he died. And a lot of people thought with both of them, they overdosed, and that's not really what happened. They damaged themselves, but they'd both been clean for a little bit. But I think they said Andy was still drinking. He went to rehab and then he got out and they went out to eat or something and he had a beer and the guy was like, "No, why are you drinking?" He's like, "It's okay." But Coke was his like big problem. Coke and alcohol were the two big ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just looking up also that Little Foss and Big Halsey. Yeah, I guess it wasn't a very successful movie, so it didn't get much publicity. Yeah,
I'd never heard of the movie that we watched last night, and I guess it won like an award in Spain. It won their equivalent of the Academy Award, so I guess somebody watched it. Of course, I was like born the year that it came out, and I never saw it on reruns or anything, so... Because I didn't really get into like 70s movies until I was in high school. And then they started like, people were kind of nostalgic for the 70s. And then I started watching like Taxi Driver and Looking for Mr. Goodbar and all the kind of dark movies. And what else? God, 70s had a lot of really good movies.
I thought it was very creative. The 70s, yeah.
They were. The Godfather, of course, and The Exorcist and Carrie. And
They could take
That's
chances
maybe,
back then.
well, they
I think
did.
not. It wasn't even just the wokeness. The wokeness killed a lot too. But I think also when in later decades, it just became more of a let's keep all the movies safe and commercial.
Right. Well, and I think they had more of an edge in the 70s. They did a lot of darker stuff. And
Well, you could do like a darker ending or whatever. Now everything is so cookie cutter.
well,
Yeah.
and then back then, I think the director had more say
They
in
did.
what they
Yeah.
could do, because a lot of times they'd go back and forth. Like you hear stories about how the director would fight with the
Yeah.
producer, kind of like, well, Nightmare on Elm Street, they came out in the 80s, but Wes Craven fought nonstop with the producer, but because they were, basically mortgaged their everything on that movie.
Yeah.
But back in the 70s, I think they had more leeway. And then now it's kind of like, oh, a test audience looked at this and they don't like it, so you got to redo
Exactly.
it. Or,
Yeah.
and that's why some of these movies are shit and they're all kind of the same. Or like you said, they all have to have happy endings. I don't know how many movies I've seen from the 70s. There was no happy endings, and a lot of these
Yeah.
movies. And God, most of the movies we're talking about, they weren't happy endings. When American and what was it? Last Tango in Paris? That had kind of a sad. Well, it was sad. But it wasn't a good ending. As far as like a happy ending, Carrie, Godfather, all that stuff. None of that stuff had like a happy ending.
Right.
Mr. Goodbar didn't. I mean, most of these movies weren't. The 70s were kind of a dark time for movies. Like even the cornier movies like Lipstick, that wouldn't have been as corny if she could act. And I like Margot Hemingway. I like the Hemingway girls, but I mean, God, she blew the guy away with a shotgun for raping her sister and all that. It was like
Yeah.
a heavy movie. But her acting kind of ruined that movie. It would have been better if she could have acted.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. We've had a good show tonight. It's been a good conversation, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So guys, it's been fun. I think I'm gonna wrap up and head to bed, and hopefully we'll be on the show tomorrow. I look forward to that. And any final thoughts, Sasha?
No, I guess I'm good if you're good.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. So we will talk to you guys later. It's been a lot of fun though. So thank you, and Merry Christmas early.
All right. Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas. Bye.